So officially welcome. Everyone to the afternoon session. So I think let's just dive into today's quote and we'll go into the lesson lesson. A bit shorter today. I'm going to try and finish by 3 because I have another meeting scheduled then. So just so you know. So let's go. Okay, so Sally, can you read that for us? The quote and then the first paragraph, first couple of paragraphs actually.
You are heaven's Halley's comet, and we have one shot at seeing you shine. I'll say it again. You are heaven's Halley's comet. We have one shot at seeing you shine.
It's a nice thought, isn't it? It's like the world has one shot in this lifetime at seeing you shine with the light of true awareness.
Feels very.
It's a nice. That's why I chose it, and it leads nicely into today's lesson.
Interesting, because it made me go really hot reading that. So it's a very key message there to say out loud, because I've read it a few times this morning, but
no, heaven's Halley's comet with one shot at seeing you shine. So the world awaits your shining, your radiance.
I can see why that's caused some unsettling your energy, Sally.
Really? Okay. Oh, good. I'll just observe that.
Yeah.
And it's a call. This is a call to shine, to be the light of the world. That's what he's asking us to do.
Today's quote from another American pastor again follows on beautifully from yesterday's quote, a mind training lesson in which I highlighted the connection between healing and your higher purpose. When you choose heaven, which is one name for the transcendent state of pure formless awareness that every authentic spiritual teaching points to, for example, the Buddhists call it nirvana, and it's called moksha in Hinduism. You're also choosing to let awareness of its reality arise in the world through you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I was doing this practice this morning, but it just happened this morning where I was loving everything that I saw projected around me. So I realized that I was able to love and accept everything I liked in my environment and could ignore the rest. But today it just came to me to really love everything, the cigarette butts on the floor, the broken drain or whatever it is. And as I was doing it, I was loving every person I met. And it was just amazing. It was just like living in heaven. But people were grinning at me, and it was just incredible connection with everyone. And nobody was really speaking, but they were just like grinning at me from a distance and walking towards me, and then kind of walking past and grinning at me and looking back as they walked past. And it was like, okay, this is a good practice.
This was out on a walk. You did this. Yeah.
I did it for an hour and a half. Time. There was no time.
Yeah. So you are this awareness. You are this pure formless awareness of perfect love. And when you engage in something like that it's a spiritual practice to love other people, then it can take you into the state, it can connect you with this true awareness, and let it arise in your mind. So that's how you start living this. Okay, well, I can actually, the Buddhists they call it the metta practice. I bring people to mind, and I stay in loving awareness, and I just feel like, I am this loving awareness, and it's radiating out from me, connecting to everyone. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. So, it's the same idea from yesterday. So I am this awareness, and I can see it everywhere, because it is everywhere. It's the underlying awareness, the underlying reality behind everything. So it doesn't matter how people are behaving in the world. This awareness is still the truth. And so when you tap into that, then you're just acknowledging what was always there. Just you weren't aware of it before. and then you're letting it shine through you. You have one shot at seeing you shine. That shining, that awareness is the shining that you experience. That's the shining that he's talking about. And if you're in that state, then the rest of the world, seemingly other people, will notice that. They will recognize the shining, and that's why they were smiling back at you, because that state of loving awareness is what actually everyone wants in this world, and then you become an example of it, and you can help other people to experience it too.
And it wasn't just people either. It was, everything's a projection, isn't it? So everything that I'd made, I was very light with it and very loving, that I'd created rubbish on the floor. And I just, without even thinking about it, I was gathering the rubbish and putting it in the bin and making, it was just a very interesting observing myself doing it. Like I wasn't doing it, I was watching myself do it. And then afterwards, now thinking about it, I went and picked up all the rubbish. I would normally do that as a person, thinking they've done it wrong, they've dropped their McDonald's packets on the floor, so I'm going to be the very good spiritual person that picks them up and puts them in the bin. It was none of that. It was just it's all love.
It was just loving awareness, which is the right state of doing. And then you did a helpful action. You behaved in a way that was loving and kind and helpful, but without any acknowledgement of an error. So that's the interesting thing. You can actually do that, because the ego is going to say, oh well, if you don't see the problem, acknowledge it and go, okay, well, there's a problem, I need to fix it. How's anything ever going to change? But you perceive it, but you don't allow yourself to go into problem consciousness. Like you perceive it, but you're in loving awareness, and in loving awareness, you can take whatever action you guided to take, which will be to try and remedy that. So you pick up the rubbish, but in your awareness, there's nothing wrong. It's actually all perfect, but you're still taking the action to be truly helpful. So that's how the Holy Spirit does it. It's really interesting that you can actually do that. You can be very helpful and guided, and you can take action on the level of form to solve apparent problems without really getting rooted in problem consciousness. You're just in loving awareness, and the loving awareness says, well, just pick it up. It's not something you have to get upset about. You don't have to project any guilt for it. So just do it. Do what's truly helpful and remain in loving awareness. And so that's the mode, operating mode that Yeshua is trying to train us to be in loving awareness, loving kind awareness. You can do everything that's required, that's necessary in this world, rather than making it into a problem and going, oh yeah, self-righteously I'll pick it up. So there's many ways you could do the same action, but you could have a different experience with each way. And it sounds like the way you chose, that's the highest way. That is choosing the choice for heaven. See, in that moment, you're picking up the rubbish, you're making the choice for heaven. Isn't that interesting? In that moment, even while you're taking this action, this seemingly pretty mundane action of picking up rubbish on the level of form, you're actually making the choice for heaven, and you're in that heavenly state. And that's what he's saying. Look, you can always be there, even when you're in the world. You can remain rooted in that state and not be of the world.
I've heard that offered as a spiritual practice, actually, like sweeping your house, rather than doing it begrudgingly or because it's got to be done and offering negative thoughts about it, but actually blessing your house as you're doing it and doing it as that act of spiritual awareness. And I guess that's the practice, isn't it? You can do consciously. And then, so what you've done, Sally, is gone from the house to the whole world, haven't you? As being part.
Because it's, that awareness is everywhere. So saying you can always be in that awareness if you choose to be. I choose, heaven, wherever I am, whether I'm walking a shop, whatever the circumstances are. Whatever the world's showing you on the level of form, it doesn't matter, because that awareness is always there. So God goes with you wherever you go. Another way of saying it, it's always there. Heaven is always there if you choose it. If if you allow yourself to be in that state of mind. So it's amazing. Thanks for sharing that, because that's really what this is about. Staying rooted in that loving awareness. And these sessions and the mind training are just to help you to get into that state, stay in that state consistently.
And it also came to me that while I was picking up the rubbish, in this feeling of love, I noticed I was being watched doing it. Other people were watching, they were stopping and watching me. They could feel that I wasn't doing it begrudgingly. I think see that something else was happening. And it was just really interesting. It felt to me though they may also walk on and do the same elsewhere.
Which is then how it spreads. That awareness spreads. You become the catalyst for it.
So sorry, I did hijack it a little bit, but when I was a teenager, I did this. That I lived. It's a really busy road, lots of rubbish. So I got some friends, and we picked up all the litter, and we had 2 big bin bags full of litter, which we put next to the rubbish bin. Came back the next day, and somebody had emptied them all out again. And it's like, why would that have happened then? Because obviously I've created that, didn't I? So is that just my kind of negative programming coming in, thinking, because I can never understand why someone had that mentality, and I never equated it to being an aspect of me in those days. It was obviously someone external who'd done that. It was a bit sad. It kind of put me off.
Well, it's representative of the ego's thought system. And the egos will just do everything it possibly can to be unhelpful, to block this loving awareness. And so someone's cleaned up, made something nice, and then the ego will go, I'll just mess it up because that's what I want to do.
So I started off with kind of the right idea, and then my ego basically just kind of wore me down until I got the wrong idea.
Yeah, so then you reacted to, so that the ego then tries to perpetuate itself through the external forms, and it then shows you, I don't know, that your loving kindness and your action was actually of no use, because look what happened. So it's no use, and so it's defending itself. It's trying to say, well, don't do that, because there's no point. The world is just a dark place, and it's unconscious people. So why even bother? Why bother picking up litter? Because someone is gonna undo it. So that's just ego defense, because it doesn't want loving awareness to come into the world. Then it's just trying to stop you from staying in that awareness and give you evidence for another awareness. That's all that any negativity is. It's a block to this awareness of perfect love.
It seems so counterintuitive. If I started off consciously believing in loving awareness, which I did, I used to think the world was wonderful, everyone was wonderful, I couldn't see any wrong. And so if I was consciously thinking that, but then my ego was showing me something different, dragging me to a different place, it's like, well, where did that come from then? Has that just been underlying programming?
Subconscious, underlying programming that's deep-seated. That's a belief in separation, a belief in the block to the awareness of love's presence rather than love's presence, which underlies the very deep-seated, because it underlies the entire cosmos. That's why we invented a separate world, separate reality, because we believe in separation. So it's quite deep-seated. And so consciously we might say, I believe in everyone's kind and loving, but then underneath that, there's a deeper, there's a denial of that. You don't believe that on some level, on a deeper level, and then something happens in the world to trigger you, and then it triggers the rising of that deeper program, and you go, I feel that negativity, that darkness, and you blame the externals. Oh, was that person, that particular circumstance or event that caused it? But really, this external circumstance is just a trigger for what was in you already. And so that's the value of the trigger. The trigger leads you to become aware of what was already there. A resident tendency, shall we call it, a fetter in your own mind. That's now you have the opportunity to look at and to let go of.
So something I was either born with or picked up from the collective consciousness. Or, and I suppose other
Doesn't
people around
really
me.
matter how you got it. In the end, it
Yeah.
came down to this one decision we all once made, the tiny mad idea of separation.
Okay.
Well, that's the problem. So that's really where it all starts. The beyond that, we've all had multiple lifetimes. We've had different journeys, but what Geshe is trying to say to us is it all came from this one idea. And so all we have to do is correct that idea, the idea of separation, in every situation. Bring in our loving awareness instead, reinterpret it. And that's the way out of the dream. You don't have to go. The Buddha said it very well. So people would ask him about the metaphysics of this, and well, then why does the world exist if there's only pure formless awareness, and so on. And he would answer very simply. He'd just say, well, if I've shot an arrow into you, if there's an arrow in your side, are you going to wonder about the origin of the arrow?
Just take it out.
Where did the arrow come? How old is the arrow? Who made the arrow? Or are you just going to take the arrow out? That was his answer. To bring you back into present moment. Okay, there's an arrow. In other words, there's a craving, there's a desire, there's something that's causing you suffering. Remove the arrow. You don't have to worry about how it came about, and was this in a previous lifetime, or because you make the arrow real and you stop the process of removing it. Just remove the arrow.
I think with my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I know where the arrow came from, I can stop another arrow from coming from that same place. That's where my mind goes.
Yeah, maybe, but actually, the ego being what it is, it'll invent something else that you didn't even.
Yeah, it will just invent another archer somewhere else.
So the moment by moment, the arrow analogy is as the arrow comes in, whatever's disturbing your peace, that's the arrow. Just remove it.
I get it.
Go, okay, well, I have a thought and a feeling of whatever it is. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling anxious. My mind is restless. I notice that. Okay, remove the arrow. I just let it go. And so he's just giving us this daily lesson to help us remove the arrow. So okay, just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, and keep restoring your mind to loving awareness, pure formless awareness. It's a very, very simple practice. Just keep doing that, and eventually the arrows will go. There'll be no arrows left. And then you remain rooted in this awareness all the time. That's the final enlightened state where there are no fetters to come back. There's nothing that's going to pull you back. There's no psychological, emotional attachment to this world anymore. It's all been undone.
So do we need to know the purpose of the arrow so that we can then let that arrow go?
Well, it's very simple. There's only one purpose. Every arrow has one purpose. What that is.
Separation. Yeah.
What one purpose is to confirm separation is real, and block your awareness of this. That's the purpose of the entire world. That's the purpose of everything the ego's ever done.
Okay, so they just
one purpose, one problem, as he says, lesson 79. One problem and one solution. One problem, you have a belief in separation. One problem, and then all of your seeming other problems, separate problems, come from that belief. One solution, let go of the belief. One problem, one solution. Very simple. Bring the problem to the solution in every moment, which is what he's asking us to do with this forgiveness practice, or this letting go, and there's no problem anymore. Okay, problem, solution.
It's done. So simple. Why is it so hard for us to grasp?
Well, because we have resistance. We don't want to get this.
So much resistance. How many times have you had to tell me this?
No,
every time I speak to you.
If it's complicated, if the ego says, no, this is really complicated, and this is going to take multiple lifetimes, and then it can maintain itself for longer. If it's so simple, well, that's all I have to do. Really, really simple in every situation. Well, I can do that. It's not rocket science. I don't have to understand complicated karmic patterns and where did I get this. That's all just complicating the matter. Okay, I've got an arrow right now in my consciousness. I'm feeling upset. Okay, so I can choose to let it go now. I can make the choice right now for heaven using today's lesson, the form of it, let it go, find my true awareness again, and problem sorted. There's no more problem. I've let it go.
So some people say that you need to feel the arrow and actually feel the pain of the arrow in order to let it go, because you have to feel your emotions and process that.
Yeah, so
you just have to acknowledge the arrow.
Okay, so I've got the arrow in my side, it's hurting a bit, mentally, emotionally, that translates into a disturbance of my peace. I'm feeling...
So acknowledge it and then just put it out, and that's
okay, because acknowledgement is necessary in order to say, okay, I need to let it go.
Okay.
Isn't it? So it's a two-step process. Awareness, all right, there's a problem here, temporary problem. I don't get fixed on the problem. Oh, there's a problem, oh, this is terrible, and now I make the problem real. No, okay, there's a problem. I have a little arrow in my side. Ego's coming again. Okay, see it. All right, but I know what the remedy is. I have a practice. I bring it into awareness. I use my idea for the day. I do some breathing. I release it. I find that state of clarity of your formless awareness again, and no problem anymore. And that can happen in an instant. You could get really good at just collapsing it, like in a few moments, in a second, in 10 seconds, a minute. Just drop it, and then there's no more problem. And then another problem might come in later in the day, in a few minutes, hours, whatever. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Same methodologies. Let me let go. So, I mean, it's really simple. It's not complicated, is it? It's very, very simple. It's just, will you do it or not? Will you remember to do it? And just, okay, there's no exception. Remember that. Write it down. No exceptions. The ego is always going to try and get you to make exceptions, but there are no exceptions. Because the truth is true in every situation. Pure formless awareness is pure formless awareness is pure formless awareness. And it's been pure formless awareness forever, for all eternity. It's never changed, never. So there's no exception. It's always there. You just removed your mind from it, covered it over, and pretended it wasn't there. But it's still there. So in every situation, if that's an eternal truth, an eternal state of mind and awareness, then it's logical that you can always just let go of whatever the covering is, whatever the illusion is. You can always let that go and go back to what has always been there. I mean, it's really simple. Yeah, I mean, that's not complicated, is it? You can't do this. It's just the remembering to do it. Because we forget, and then the ego comes in and we get turbulated, and we might stay in that state for minutes or hours, and we forget because it's hijacked our mind again. And so this practice is like, okay, just bring yourself back quickly to awareness. This is what I need to do. Let it go, and you've got the tools to let it go. You've got a daily lesson. You've got breath breaks. You've got meditations. If it's really turbulating, you've got a 10-step process you can use. It's all there. Just use one of the tools to let it go.
Okay.
No, that's not complicated, is it? I can't see any complication in that. It's really, really simple.
Very simple.
Just do it. It's a disciplined, rigorous practice of doing it, no matter what. No exceptions. Okay, here it is again. I do it again, and I do it again, and the ego comes again, and I do it again and again. It's like, okay, whatever it does, I just keep doing it. And that's the way you'll undo it. Just persistently staying on this track and not being hijacked away from it. And the ego will go, oh, okay, this is dangerous. So now let's try and get you into something else. No, forgiveness isn't the answer. We're going to go somewhere else. We're going to try and find some other answer. So be aware of that, because it's really simple. Whether you do this forgiveness in a Buddhist practice, or you do it as a Course in Miracles student, or you do it as a Sufi mystic, or you do it just by like you a layman and something, and you says, yeah, I just need to let this go. It doesn't matter what form you do it in. It's the same thing. You letting go of your mental and emotional attachment, psychological attachment to this world, systematically, progressively, as it shows up. Okay, another arrow. I'm turbulated. Okay, I can let it go.
Thank you so much. There's pure joy in what you're saying.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the ego does. how apparently dysfunctional and dark and painful and suffering and sickness and death. And I mean, the ego can seriously do that in this world. Like, just look at the dysfunction that goes on. It doesn't matter, because let it go. There's an answer to it. You can let it go, whatever it is. And you don't need to suffer unnecessarily. You can let it go straight away. So that's why the Buddha said, don't get concerned about the metaphysics. Just take the arrow out, for God's sakes. It's hurting you. You're suffering, you're bleeding. Just take the thing out and, let the wound heal. Yeah. So it is pretty joyful. It's like, oh, yeah, I can just let it go. It's okay. I can be happy. Happy days. And it doesn't matter. I'm not scared of anything in this world, because whatever it is, I can let it go. So now you become the invulnerable presence of love. I can let it go. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay, let's crack on then, shall we? So next paragraph is the awareness. This awareness leads to all happiness, peace and joy. So Susie, will you read that for us, please?
This awareness leads to all the happiness, peace and joy that you experience and can help others to experience, as well by giving them your example to follow. But most people don't want to choose heaven because they think that doing so will alienate them from people, things and events in this world, and they don't want to let go of their attachments to these illusions.
Yeah. So that's the truth. You've always got the choice, but you actually don't want to let go. You're valuing the things, the people, things, events, circumstances, the illusions of this world over the truth. And that's why you're not letting go. Which is why he spends a lot of time saying, I will not value what is valueless. Don't value what has no meaning and no purpose. Don't value it, because that it remains a block to heaven, to the state of pure formless awareness. Okay, so next one, let's ask Yad to read that. It's true that ultimately the choice for heaven.
It's true that ultimately the choice for heaven, or the state of pure formless awareness, will result in you leaving this world of time and space behind to enter permanently into this eternal, infinite state of awareness. While you're seemingly in this world and still correcting your mind, you can engage in the world in a way that you are done through your words, decisions and actions, and uses your awareness as a channel for expressing itself in the world.
That's so interesting.
That's what Sally was doing.
You just skipped over pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Did I?
Did you see that?
Did I miss the line?
You skipped the whole line, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it did make sense. It's actually, I find it, I mean, it's not an excuse really, but I find it quite, I've got a really big monitor here. So I kind of need to make it smaller because I'm sitting back because it's hard to see. Yeah. But I think maybe that's what I'll do is I'll minimize it. That's my problem with pure formless
awareness. Means that pure formless awareness of perfect love guides all your words, decisions. So that awareness, perfect demonstration, Sally. Thank you for sharing that story, because that awareness just guided you on your walk, and it guided you to pick up the rubbish, and so you're in the world, you're walking in the world, but it's guiding you. Your words, decisions, and actions are coming from that awareness, and it uses your awareness as a channel for expressing itself in the world. So then people pick up on that awareness. Everyone's smiling, and you had a sense that, maybe other people would do the same. So now you've become the beacon of that awareness to shine into the world. And that's your purpose here. So on your walk, you've just spread this loving awareness to who knows however many people who were there, and afterwards, because you cleaned up the rubbish, so that makes it a bit better for everyone who comes after you. See? So that's how we do it. Just the loving awareness will guide you to take the right action in time and space, to do what is loving and kind and truly helpful for you and for the whole. It's for the whole always. So it's a good example. So isn't it amazing how the teachings just dovetail with people's experiences? And you get the examples to like, oh, okay, so there's an example, of exactly that, because that's how this all works. And the Spirit's guiding all of us to go, okay, we're all in this process now of awakening together, and everyone's experience is my experience. Sally's experience is your experience, because she's not separate from you. She's one. She's part of the one mind. She is you, you are her, and so her experience is your experience. So then you celebrate. Can you see the beauty of this? You celebrate everyone's miracles, everyone's awakening, little moments of awakening. You go, well, that's my awakening. Hey, I'm waking up too. That's really good news. We're waking up together, and we share these so that we can all benefit from everyone's experience. That's also what happens here. It's easy, like as you probably gather, because you've done a few of these sessions, like that sharing. Well, if you're on your own, you don't get that sharing. You're not getting the benefit of Sally's experience and Yad's experience and Iona's experience. You don't get that. You only get your experience, which kind of perpetuates often the little self. And you go, well, I'm all on my own doing this. No, you're not all on your own. Actually, everyone is on this journey together. And this is just a forum where you can really feel that, see that, and connect with that.
And that's so true, because that's where the separation comes from, because you do believe you're on your own. Yeah. But when you are sharing like this, it's great because you can see that they're all one. Thank you.
And we've all got the same problem. We've got one perceptual problem, and there's one solution, and we've all got the same issues. Nothing's, so you're not weird or freaky or I don't know if I'm the freak. No, you're not. That mind wandering, that restlessness you talked about is normal. That's what happens with most people. So we're all trying to undo that and reprogram so that we can stay rooted in this true awareness, experience the peace and the joy. And the reason you do this is because you want the happiness and the peace and the joy. That's why you do it. There's no other reason. It's not just, oh, well, I want to control my mind for the sake of, being a really mind-controlled person, because that is necessary to experience the bliss that is my true state. So to be truly happy and peaceful and joyful, I need to learn this kind of mind control. Okay, so next one.
Me.
Yeah.
This is what Yeshua meant when he told his disciples that although they were not of this world, they would remain in it for a while. This means that you, as this modern day disciple, can remain in the world for a while to learn to let go of all attachments to this world, and in the process, spread the happiness, peace, and joy that stem from this transcendent realm through your example, and also powerfully and positively influence the mind of the sonship, as Yeshua calls it in the Course in Miracles, or the quantum field in modern scientific terminology.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you remain in the world, you spread the happiness, the peace, the joy that come from this transcendent realm, and you are powerfully and positively influencing this mind of the sonship, the quantum field. And you felt it this morning, didn't you? It's like, okay, I can feel I'm radiating this out, and people will pick that up. And on a mind level, you are the healing of the world. You are the example of a person who's awakening, and you are spreading that into the quantum field. So if more and more people do that, then people pick it up on a mind level, and then the society starts to awaken, because it's all happening on a mind level. We think, oh, because I'm separate and there's other people in separate bodies, that I'm not connected to them, but we're all connected in that field. So you change your mind, that influences everyone in a way we can't really comprehend. The ego certainly can't get its head around it, but you're starting to understand that it's one awareness, and the body really doesn't separate you from that awareness. That awareness is that awareness. There's one mind. There's only one of us really here. So next one, Iona doesn't seem to be there, so we'll there she is. Hi.
I'm just standing out the window listening.
Oh, okay.
Out the window, yeah.
To refer to yesterday's message, can you read that?
To refer to yesterday's message again, Anita Moorjani is an outstanding example of someone who's doing this, but you don't need to have a near-death experience and write a best-selling book to allow heaven or pure formless awareness to have a profound impact on other people through you. Carry on?
Yeah, I'll read the next paragraph by all means.
All you need to do is choose to remain in a state of pure formless awareness, no matter what seems to be happening on the level of form, and allow it to inspire you to act with loving kindness towards every person and sentient being.
That's the practice.
Hmm.
Just remain in that. It starts with your awareness, because if you're not in pure formless awareness and you're turbulated, how can you act with loving kindness? Impossible. So you look at the integral model, it requires the intention, that the intention be in alignment with the behavior, which is why just behavioral change doesn't work. I'll give you an example of this. So a year or two ago, there's a lady who had a WhatsApp group called Random Acts of Kindness. Great idea, right? Random acts of kindness. Yeah, we're going to do these random acts of kindness. And so then I posted some stuff in the group. I'm like, okay, well, they might be open to it. So I posted a couple of meditations and talked a bit about that. And she was like, she just shut it down. She said, no, this is not what we're doing in this group. We're just doing random acts of kindness. And I said, well, actually, it's integral, because you can't do random acts of kindness if you haven't corrected your mind and you're not connecting with this true awareness. Otherwise, it would be so simple. Do random acts of kindness, everyone, and everyone would just be kind. It would be so simple. Oh, we just got to change our behavior. But you got to change your mind. Got to change mind, attitude, values, beliefs. All of that's got to change in order for you to be consistently kind and loving and do random acts of kindness. And how you change your behavior, how you change your mind is through spiritual practices like meditation. So, but she dropped me, she removed me from the group because she didn't want anything coming in to disturb her flatland. That's a flatland worldview. That's going, random acts of kindness is the answer, just behavioral change is the answer. It's not recognizing that it has to come from within. And when I pointed that out, I was removed, because although she was, she's actually quite a nice lady, but her mindset is still a materialist mindset, saying the answer lies on the level of form. We're gonna change things on the level of form with behavior. Her business actually was a alternative health product business. So it goes. It's a magic. Although they're good products, it's still a magic solution to the problem.
That's what we're talking about.
And actually, the solution lies in the deeper mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be integral. You can only be loving and kind if you are connecting with pure formless awareness, and you're in that state consistently. Because if you're in the ego and you're upset, you're angry, how can you be loving and kind? It's not going to happen. You'll behave according to your state of mind.
And that includes feeling nervous or feeling that you might be attacked on any level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of it. So all unloving, unkind behavior comes from a dysfunction in the mind. You're not rooted in your true awareness. The ego's come and covered that over, given you some other state, and then the behavior comes out of that state, and then the behavior reinforces that state.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not loving and kind. You behave in a nervous way. You're anxious. Maybe you're fearful. Maybe you attack someone. You're defensive, and then that behavior reinforces the state. Oh, now someone reacts to me because I wasn't in my loving kindness. Someone reacts to me negatively, and then it seems to reinforce the state that I was in. Oh, well, actually, unkindness is true, and kindness and this true awareness is not there. And so it's just a self-reinforcing program. Intentions create behavior confirms intentions, and we get caught up in a vicious vicious cycle within the ego. But if we start changing that with our intentions, then we start seeing that actually there's evidence for our loving kindness, for this awareness in the world. We see that actually, if we are in this awareness and we behave in this way, that actually works, and we get that fed back to us. So that then reinforces that, okay, I'm on the right track here. And so that this is just the external aspect of the miracle. Behavioral change and people's reactions and anything you see in the external is the external aspect of the miracle. The interior aspect is the change of mind that you have to do. Yeah. And he works on both levels here. He talks about the miracle, and the miracle is both the correction on a mind level, but it's also how that shows up externally to confirm it. It's both. He uses the term for both aspects of this the shift. So, the integral model it's embedded in the course. He just doesn't call it the integral model and doesn't explain it quite like this, but it's there. The intentions and the behavior must be in alignment always. Okay, any questions on that?
I did that once. I took part in a random acts of kindness thing and did exactly that. I offered a free session, but at the time I was really lacking confidence in my abilities. And the person who won the free session didn't take it up. So it was obviously, if I'd had a different intention when I set it out, or a different, energy behind it, they would have done that. They would have taken it.
Happened differently, yeah. So
this is interesting. So that's just, this is actually making my brain hurt, because I'm kind of reassessing and reevaluating all the things that have happened in the past that I've thought a certain way about, and it's like, no, it wasn't that at all.
So we think it's the external world.
Yeah.
See, the illusion that the ego's got us into is we think it's the external world that's causative. Oh, someone did this, so therefore I'm upset. But it's not. It's your intention that's causative. You had that thought, that belief, even if it wasn't conscious. You see, this is where it gets cunning. It's subconscious. You don't know, but it's your intentions that are causative. They then are the cause of the seeming behaviors and performance outcomes on this level, and then that feeds back in the feedback loop. So perception, and that feeds back into the intentions. So then, if we're not conscious, we go, oh well, yeah, of course, that always happens to me because that's just how it happens. I'm unlucky, I'm a victim, I'm unfairly treated, or whatever, and then that just reinforces the belief that was the problem in the first place, that caused it. And so we get caught up in this cycle of projection, and perception, and that's what we're doing all the time, and we're unconscious of it. We don't know we're doing it. And so Yeshua's coming in saying, let's get in between that. Let's create some space in that and start to recognize that I am projecting and perceiving all the time, and that I'm responsible for the projections. Whatever's showing up, this must be on some level coming from my mind. It's a representative of my thought system. Okay, well, now do you see how powerful this is? I have a way of getting back into the mind. Instead of it being unconscious, I can really see it, and I can undo it. And so the very mechanism, projection and perception that the ego's invented to defend itself and perpetuate itself is the mechanism the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of oneness, is going to use to undo it and crack it open. And isn't that just such good news? Because you can just reinterpret the whole thing. Go, okay, this can be used for my awakening now, rather than my damnation. Okay, so where are we? So this is a good place to start from. Someone else read that.
This is a good place to start from, and if you're inspired to do nothing else in your life, being consistently loving and kind to people will help you to stay connected to the state of pure formless awareness. Experience what I call foundational happiness and help other people to do the same.
Yeah, so some people are asking, like, well, what's my higher purpose? Like some world-changing grand purpose. And actually it's just to be loving and kind to everyone in your life. I mean, it's not grandiose at all. It's very simple. Just be loving and kind, and that's a really good start. Maybe from that base you get inspired to do other things. But if you don't, and you're just a loving, kind person, well, you're on purpose. You're living your higher purpose, because that's the purpose, is to connect to stay rooted in pure formless awareness, stay connected to it, and being loving and kind is one of the key ways that you do that. So whatever else you feel inspired to do on top of this is just a miraculous bonus. But your base state is foundational happiness and loving kindness. I mean, that's not complicated, is it? People go, what's my purpose? Well, there you go, right there. There's your purpose. You don't need to look anywhere else. So all of the grandiosity of the ego, and a lot of these teachings like The Secret and personal growth, and saying, oh no, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, and become something better, and you've got to make money, or you've got to do something extraordinary in the world to validate yourself. No, just be happy and be loving and kind. I mean, that's not that complicated, is it? It's actually really simple.
This is something extraordinary. I found this with people I've worked with who've been told that they've got this grand mission and that they're really influential, and they've got this purpose. But this is a really important purpose, isn't it? And it's affecting, our healing changes the whole world, doesn't it?
Yeah, because the only purpose is that one-ment. So if you are staying in your own pure formless awareness, rooted in that presence, and you're loving and kind, so you extending it out, you're playing your part in that one-ment, and that's your purpose. So you need to do nothing else. You might be guided to do certain things, express it in certain ways. For instance, I got guided to do this course and put it together. Okay, so maybe you might have like something like that on the level of form. But if nothing else, you're just loving and kind and peaceful. Okay, is that so hard? You don't really need to seek very hard for that purpose. I remember Sue last year when we were doing this, she was like, well, what's my purpose? I'm just not getting my purpose. I'm like, well, your purpose is just to be happy in the moment and be loving and kind to everyone and spread that. That's not so hard, is it? You don't have to really think very hard about that. Oh, what's my purpose? But the ego will try and convince you that it's somewhere else and it's something else. It's because it's very cunning, and it wants you to believe in whatever that's going to take you away from the simplicity of it. It's so simple. Like, how could you not see it? Enlightenment is so simple if you really see it honestly, which means it's very doable. You can do it every moment. You don't need to change anything. You don't need some grandiose purpose. Don't need anything to change. You just, okay, I'm rooted in my true awareness. I can be loving and kind to everyone who comes into that awareness. Very simple. So that'll just sabotage your experience of pure formless awareness, which is always right now and cannot be experienced in the past or future. Oh, I'm waiting for my higher purpose to reveal itself. Okay, you might wait a long time, but actually your higher purpose is in every moment. Your higher purpose is on your walk. See, your higher purpose is in every conversation you have. Your higher purpose is in every email you send. It's in every whatever you're doing. It's your higher. You're just living it. So then you don't need to seek in the future for your purpose. Your purpose is unfolding moment by moment in the now.
That's why people say follow your bliss then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you follow your bliss, then you're in that blissful state, then that's your purpose.
Yeah, so the hero's journey, because that's where it comes from, is talking about a path that you're walking where you're actually going to be in that state, what you're doing. So often how the spirit works is, okay, we'll do this. You've got some kind of mission, something you feel called to do. But by doing that, you are changing your awareness and you're being loving and kind. You're expressing the loving kindness in a certain way. Well, we all have our ways. So if you've got a gift, you've got a talent, okay, well, you get directed to express this through that talent. But you can start, from wherever you are right now. Just be rooted in this awareness, stay in pure formless awareness as much as you can, and be in loving and kind. Just so you spread that awareness, and then you're following your bliss. If something else comes in and says, as I say, a miraculous bonus that says, okay, well, you've got a calling, go do this, and put something together on the level of form, create a, whatever it is, write a book or do healing work or run a retreat or, all this kind of stuff. Okay, well, that's how this is then going to express. Loving kindness is going to express in this way. But it's happening from the foundation of pure formless awareness. And it's been guided. Everything's been guided by that. So if you do that, then you will be following your bliss, and you'll be experiencing these blissful states, not sometime in the future, but moment by moment. I'm foundationally happy. Everything's okay. So yeah, such a simple teaching. If you want a bit more, you could go into to some of the nuances of enlightenment. That's a good video to watch. He talks about some of the fetters at advanced stages, and if nothing else, it'll probably bring you some comfort to go, okay, well, I'm not alone. Even these advanced, so-called enlightened people in stage 3 still have mind wandering. They still have restlessness. So. All right, so that brings us into today's lesson. So let's read that. Let's do a bit of translation as we go. Actually, Sally, while I prepare this, will you just do a little clearing for us, please? It's always good to do that. Just a minute or two.
If anybody wants to repeat the words, then just mute yourselves. I release and let go of all resistance to knowing heaven is a decision that I choose consciously now. I release all resistance to the truth. I let go of all that prevents my awakening. I release judgments, guilt, and pain. I release all attachments to ego illusions. I let go of resistance to the now, and I release my restless mind. I release this from my energy now, in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. I release and let go of all my resistance to knowing heaven, to knowing it's a decision that I choose consciously. I release all resistance to the truth. I let go of all that prevents my awakening. I release judgments, guilt, and pain, and all attachments to ego illusions. I let go of resistance to the now, and I release my restless mind. I release all this from my energy now, in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. I accept that heaven is a decision that I make today. I choose heaven now, and I accept my holy purpose in this now moment. I accept heaven is the decision that I make today. I choose heaven now, and I accept my holy purpose in this now moment. I welcome this into my awareness in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. I accept heaven is the decision that I make today. I choose heaven now. I accept my holy purpose in this now moment. I welcome this into my awareness now, in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. Take a deep breath. And so it is.
Thank you, Sally. That was great. So let's dive into the lesson then. I'll just share my screen with you again. Okay, so and let's grab that. So heaven is the decision I must make, and I like this one because he's actually making heaven into a choice. When we think heaven is some kind of transcendent state out of our choosing. You know, when I go to heaven, heaven will just kind of happen to me. But that's actually not the case. It's a choice that I make moment by moment for a state of mind. So pure formless awareness. Okay, so let's share my screen. All right, so there's first paragraph. Will someone read it? Iona, maybe kick it off. Heaven is the decision I must make.
If it's 25% bigger, please.
Sorry, that's an in-joke. We is apparently 25%, we've established.
Yes.
So where are we? View. Zoom in 125. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. Pure formless awareness is a decision I must make. Would you like me to read the interpretation all the way through, or the original first?
I think let's go straight into the interpretation because we're a bit pushed for time. I've got an hour, so.
Yes, same. In this world, the state of pure formless awareness is a choice because here we believe there are alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite and what we want to choose. If the state of pure formless awareness exists, there must be hell or victimhood as well. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real.
Yeah, victimhood. So victimhood versus heaven, that's the choice. Okay, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're in this world believing that everything is there's an opposition to everything. And what we want, we choose.
That's duality.
Mm.
So contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real.
Mm. Mm. So he's gonna teach us more about choosing making the right choice, the state of pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
Not remaining in this hell of victimhood.
Yeah. So recognizing that we have a choice. I think that's one of the big things with any great spiritual teaching. Mm. Whatever the situation is, even if you're in a apparently very hellish environment, and you know these do exist on Earth. So let's take Viktor Frankl. You probably know about his story. He was in a concentration camp for 4 years in World War II. You know, that's pretty much that's a hellish environment, a hellish physical circumstances, and yet he was still able to make the choice for heaven in that situation. He consciously chose it, and that's what kept him going, kept him sane. And then, you know, his life purpose was to write about that experience and bring something into the world. It was very profound from that experience. So he just recognized, even though I'm in hell on a physical level, I still have a choice, and I can remain in my true awareness no matter what. That's an extreme example, but that's, you know, the choice we always make. So probably most of us we'll never have that experience, but we can learn from his experience. Say, yeah, well, even in those extreme circumstances, he can do it. So what's my excuse? I'm just upset because, something didn't go right in my life, but it's nothing like that kind of extremity of pain and suffering and hell that I'm having to face. So if he can do it, I can do it. And that's the value of an extreme example. Okay, happy with that? Moving on swiftly to number 2 then. So just read the alternative translation. Sally, if you can read that for us, please.
Creation knows no opposite, but here.
Okay. So creation.
Creation is source knows no opposite.
Close. Another word.
Beingness.
Yeah, there we go. Well done. It's a good one. So beingness knows no opposite. If I'm in my true beingness, what can be opposite of being? Being is being. I am that I am that I am. There is no opposite in true beingness. Okay, carry on.
Here is opposition part of being real, but here is opposition part. Does that make sense? But here is opposition part of being real.
Yeah, it's okay.
Opposition part of being real. All right, yeah, okay. It is this strange perception of the truth that makes the choice of the state of pure formless awareness seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell.
Hell being?
Victimhood.
Yeah, never gave him away there. Yeah.
No, it is not really thus. Yet what is true in pure formless awareness of perfect love's creation
perfect love's
beingness.
Yeah. Or we could call that reality. And what is true in pure formless awareness of perfect love's reality, beingness? What do you think? Which is better?
Yeah, reality works, doesn't it? Cannot enter here until it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come home where it could only be perceived with fear. But this would be the error truth. This would be the error truth can be brought to illusions. Oh yeah. Opposition makes the truth unwelcome and it cannot come. Interesting.
Yeah, so we have opposition. Opposition is duality. We have duality going on. We have an alternative to pure formless awareness. This is what makes the entire world. What he's saying to us is our experience of this world is made up by the opposition in our mind. And everything's a projection of that split in our mind. That's why we seem to have opposites externally, because we have an opposite in our mind. But beingness knows no opposite. So we think there's an opposite. Opposite of fear is love, as he says in the introduction. But what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. There is no opposite to beingness. There is no opposite to pure formless awareness, to heaven. And all we've got to do is realize that, and the opposition in our minds collapses. If we really get that, we go, actually, there is no opposition. The opposition is a dream. It's a fantasy. I made it up. It's not true.
It's like yesterday you said there's an opposite to a feeling. So feeling happy, can be sad. Being happy, being happiness, has no opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a state of mind. Heaven is a state. There is no opposite to the state of pure formless awareness. It is the ground of being, right? Even if you have an unhappy state, fear going on in your mind, say, that's just a covering over that awareness. That's always there. It's still there. Even in your darkest hour, even when you're so anxious, it's still there. It's just covered over, and you're not aware of it. But that pure formless awareness is always there. It cannot really be undone. So it's just moving through, the opposition, the covering, letting that go, and then recognizing that awareness is always there. It always has been there. It doesn't matter what the ego does to try and invent an opposite. It's there. There's no opposite. That ground of being, pure formless awareness, cannot be undone. It is your fundamental reality. Fundamental existence lies there and only there. Okay? Happy with that? So number 3. So whose turn is it to read? Susie, will you read number 3 for us, please, in the grey? Choice is the obvious escape.
Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. Without decision, time is but waste and effort dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished, nothing learned.
Okay. Any thoughts on that? Decision lets, do you understand what he's saying? Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. So he's saying here, decision, let's say allows, I think might be better, allows only one. I think that needs a bit of clarification. Allows only one of 2 seeming conflicting goals. Does that make sense? Become the aim of effort. Become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. Become the aim. Become the become your aim towards which you direct your time and effort. How about that? It's a bit clearer than aim of effort and expenditure of time. Becomes your aim towards which you direct your time and effort, or your goal. You can keep aim, goal. Yeah, happy with that translation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it just makes it simpler. Without decision, time is only wasted and effort dissipated. Spent for nothing in return, time goes by without results. There's no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished and nothing learned. So if you don't make a clear decision, you're really just spinning your wheels. You're going nowhere fast. You might think you're going somewhere, but if you don't decide for the truth, you're really going nowhere, and your time is being wasted. And we've done that a lot. We procrastinate. We try and avoid making this one decision that we must make. You're saying, okay, well, let's just get to it. Recognize that there's one decision. Make that decision, and then your time will be directed according to that decision, and you're not going to be wasting your time anymore and dissipating your effort. Time is only wasted, and our decision and when we make it active. Without decision, you will only waste time without making this decision, without making this one decision. Or if you do not make this one decision, let's get even clearer. If you do not make this one decision, you will only waste time and all your efforts. Okay, so if you want to read it from the top, Susan, let's make sure this makes sense.
Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision allows only one of two seeming conflicting goals become your aim towards which you direct your time and effort.
To become your aim.
To become your aim towards which you direct your time and effort. If you do not make this one decision, you will only waste time and all your efforts will be dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished and nothing learned.
Time we spend for nothing in return, and will
Go by
without what he's saying, without results, without any real results, shall we say? So that's really what he's saying, isn't it? When you'll get there's always cause and effect. You'll get happenings happening in time, because that's how the dream works. Things are always changing and happening, but without any real results. There's no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished and nothing learned. So there'll be no sense of gain in this state, in this state of illusion. There is no sense of gain. Nothing is accomplished and nothing truly learned. Okay, so we've changed quite a bit of that. What I'm trying to do is make this more active. See, everything he puts in the passive tense, and I think it's more powerful if it's active. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Because it becomes more like your time will be spent, not time in general. Your time will be wasted. Your time will go by without any results. You won't have any sense of gain. In the state of, you will not have any sense of gain. You will have no sense of gain. In this state of illusion, you will have no sense of gain, for you will learn nothing. You will, we're going to go the whole hog. Let's go the whole hog. You will accomplish and you will accomplish and learn nothing. Okay, so read it again from the top.
Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision allows only one of two seeming conflicting goals to become your aim towards which you direct your time and effort. If you do not make this one decision, you will only waste time and all your efforts will be dissipated. Your time will be spent for nothing in return and will go by without any real results. In this state of illusion, you will have no sense of gain, for you will accomplish and learn nothing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's more powerful, because
Yes.
it's okay, you're going to be wasting your time here. So, wake up, really, what he's saying, and stop doing this. Okay, so number 4. And whose turn is it to read?
It's mine by now, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, Ed.
Okay, so I'm reading the grey one. You need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one. And when that one is made, you'll perceive it was no choice at all. For truth is true and nothing else is true. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth.
Does anything stand out for you there?
Nothing to translate. Just everything you've just been saying today, isn't it? About there's only one answer. We think that we're making lots of choices, but actually, it's just only one truth. And that's it.
It stands out for me. For truth is true, and nothing else is true. So remember that. It's a great anchor into this whole teaching. Only the truth is true. Truth is true, and the corollary to that is nothing else is true. Because I can't make truth true and something else true. Illusion's true as well. Because if I make illusions true, then the truth is no longer the only truth. And this, really is the nub of the matter. What we try and do in this world is we make what's illusion, what's false, into the true, and we believe that it's true. And that's what's behind the whole dream that we've invented, the dream of duality. But only the truth is true, only heaven is true, only pure formless awareness is true. So no other state is actually true. Wow.
So would it help to change one of those truths to pure formless awareness?
No, I don't think so. We'll keep it.
Because if it's one truth, then because I can feel my brain going like a pretzel with that one. Like, what is the truth? And the truth is pure formless awareness.
Yeah, which he's pointing to in the whole lesson. He's saying, make the choice for heaven. Heaven is pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's the only truth. So keep making that choice, and you make that choice not one time. You make that choice multiple times a day, because your awareness, if your awareness wants to wander out of that state, then you have the choice to choose heaven again, choose that state again. So that's why it's useful to translate heaven as a state of mind, state of pure formless awareness, rather than most people, heaven, that's when I go when I die. No, heaven is right here and now in your awareness. Okay, so choosing depends on learning. So Sally.
Probably me, yeah. Choosing depends on learning, and the truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. In recognition, its acceptance lies. Oh, we're doing it down there, are we?
Yeah.
As it is accepted to be known. But knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach them, what they are, and what they offer you. Decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what your needs must be. So,
what's on that?
Do you want to change the Z to the S on recognized on the second line? Yeah, the truth cannot be learned. That's the bit that stands out.
He says in the beginning of this course, I cannot just teach you the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. But I can teach you to become aware of all the blocks to the awareness of love's presence that you've invented. So that's what the goal of the teaching is. Become aware of the blocks so that you can let them go. And then the truth will arise naturally in your mind because it's your natural state.
Yeah, when we started the lesson, and the quote was, "We have one shot at seeing you shine," and I really found that hard to say, and then I got really hot. And since then, I've just had goosebumps. I feel tearful. My heart's pounding.
Really? Wow. One quote does that. Amazing.
Yeah, but it's like there's nothing to clear on it. There's no like. It doesn't feel like resistance to it. It just feels like it just is. So, like, the quote saying, "You can't learn this stuff, can you?" I couldn't have learned that reaction to the quote. It just is.
It's coming from it's a recognition of the truth.
Yeah, very deep.
And that creates an emotional reaction in you, or a seeming change in state. But that state is now is connecting you more with your true state. So it seems to be changing, but it's a change only because we've denied pure formless awareness. And then as that denial gets cleared away, this something else arises, and we go, oh, that's a change or transformation. But it's actually becoming aware of what was already there. And that quote or whatever it is just catalyzes you into that true state. Yeah. So pretty extraordinary what can happen just with words. Isn't it? It's amazing.
It's strange because I've read that several times today and it didn't have any effect on me. Well, I said it silently in my mind, but it's when I say it out loud, I feel the words and they kind of come alive when I say it.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to read sometimes, but also quite profound at moments.
Yeah. No, that's how it goes. So that's why I say, in your practice, remind yourself of the lesson and also remind yourself of the quote, because they go together. So it's only a moment. The quote's short. You just, read the quote, read the lesson when you're doing your little mind training practices, because the quotes are profound and meaningful and deep, and they lead you into the lesson. I've chosen them because they kind of relate to that day's lesson quite well. Okay, so any other thoughts on this? Choosing depends on learning.
No, just their decisions, aren't they? To, like we said at the beginning of the call, it's like to be all in with this. Yeah, not half deciding to shine my light, wholly deciding to shine my light.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really half decide this, can you? It's either yes, I'm in to this, or I'm not. There's no half measures. I can't be in heaven and in hell at the same time. It's one or the other here.
Oh yeah, good point.
So this is the collapsing of duality. I choose heaven, and I choose only heaven, and I keep choosing that. And when hell seems to arise, no, I deny that and I keep choosing heaven. As I said, it's really, really simple. Just this is a path for just stickers and plotters. Really, it's really simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to get it. Just stick at it. Keep going with this. Keep applying the teachings, and you will more and more get into this higher state of pure formless awareness. Okay, so number 6. So Diana.
Knowledge needs translated, does it not?
Where are we? In the previous one.
Yeah.
Knowledge needs to be translated.
Is knowledge not referring to the state of pure formless awareness, and it's not something that can be attained through through what you're doing now in the course?
Yeah. So knowledge is another word for this transcendent dimension, transcendent state of mind. Knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within this framework. So you want to put something else for knowledge. Okay.
We translated it before.
Did we? Okay. So, but the
you're going to ask me into what?
Yeah. Well, how about we say the state of pure formless awareness being knowledge, then it's very clear.
Yes.
The state of pure formless awareness being knowledge. So then you've defined it. This is what knowledge is. It's actually a state of mind rather than some intellectual concept or idea. It's a state of beingness. That's what he means by knowledge.
Oh.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah.
Right, so number 6.
In this insanely complicated world, the state of pure formless awareness appears to take the form of choice, rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it, for all decisions but conceal this one. Or maybe just all decisions conceal this one.
Usually translated as only conceal.
For all decisions only conceal this one by taking different forms, identities. Here is the final and the only choice in which is truth accepted or denied. Yeah.
Accepted or denied.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
Well, it is insanely complicated, and so many of us are absolutely up against the wall with trying to decide what to do for the best. And this cuts through it all, like the Gordian knot, and saying, just stop trying, go for the simplest, and everything else will resolve or melt away in the result of this one pure decision for the real truth.
So even if your problems on the level of form seem to continue, you don't really make them problems anymore. You're like, well, so what? So that's just what's arising.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I need to do, but I'm not making it into a problem in my mind, because I know ultimately it's not true, and only pure formless awareness is true, and ultimately this problem will disappear. So I'm not getting rooted in problem consciousness anymore. I'm staying in the solution.
What a relief!
Yeah, exactly. Huge. It's like, oh, thank God. I can just let it all go and not be continuously in this problematic state of mind.
It's really huge. It is such a relief. It's just like, oh, I don't know what to do, think, where to be. Okay, you decide. I'm handing it all over.
And it seems to work much better. Like all of your attempts to control actually do nothing. As he says, this is a waste of time. You're actually not doing anything. You're spinning your wheels. The analogy David Mossmaster is, it's like you're stuck in the mud and you're spinning your wheels and the mud is splattering and you're getting splattered with mud, and you're just going deeper and deeper into the mud. Trying, because you won't make the one decision that gets you out of the whole thing. Go, okay, well, I'm not really stuck. None of this is true. The mud's not real. I don't have to strive and try. I just have to quietly look at all of it and say, yeah, the whole situation isn't true.
Yeah.
It's not real. And from that state of mind, then paradoxically, you might be guided to solve the problem. So instead of like spinning your wheels in this futile way, trying to get out, you go, well, if I just ask for some guidance, maybe there's a farmhouse over there, and maybe the farmer's got a tractor and he can pull me out. And I don't have, you see, and so you actually get a solution on the level of form, even though you're not in the problem consciousness. It's interesting how it works, but that is how it works.
Yeah.
You're in a miraculous state of mind. You don't resist. So okay, well, what should I do now? And then the spirit tells you, okay, we'll go there, do that. And so it can actually help you to solve these problems on the level of form without effort and strain and or the mental and emotional attachment the ego specializes in. So it's actually, another way of looking at the Course in Miracles is it's great training in problem solving in this world. It's a problem solving course. How do you solve problems in an entirely different way without effort and stress and fuss? Miraculously, in other words, well, this is what he's training us to do. So it'll actually work better on the level of form, even though you're getting out of the level of form. It actually works better on the level of form than the ego by far. Okay, happy with number 6 then?
Yeah.
Number 7. So we begin today with the choice. So begin today considering the choice. Who wants to read that, Susie?
So we begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Such is its holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real. Hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die, and thus salvation must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. To resolve the conflict is to end your life as well.
Okay, so go from the top. Purpose you gave it. So begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Okay? So time, the only purpose, and considering the choice that time was made to help us make. The time, I'm going to change that because time wasn't time. This is a reinterpretation of time. The time, how about that? Time is there to help us make. I think that's better. Because we're not making the Holy Spirit responsible for making time. That's not how it works. It's that Holy Spirit reinterprets time. Time is there to help us make. Such is its holy purpose, now transformed from the purpose you gave it, which was to be a means for demonstrating. Hell is, do you remember?
No, sorry. Oh, victimhood.
Yeah, exactly. So I gave you a little clue there. Hell is victimhood. So for demonstrating victimhood is real, that hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. That any hope is changes to despair is hope is denied by despair. And life itself must in the end be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die. And thus salvation, or awakening, must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. So often I've found this. You go, okay, well, I'll just die, and then that's going to end the conflict. It's tempting, isn't it? Oh, well, I'll just leave this world, commit suicide, get out of here. So awakening is seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. But the problem with that is you haven't really resolved the conflict in your mind. You still have the ego. So you haven't actually learned your lesson. You haven't really made the choice for heaven at all. And so if you leave with the conflict still in your mind, then you're going to come back because that conflict hasn't been resolved, and you come back into time to resolve the conflict. That's why we're reborn, to resolve this conflict and finally make up your mind about who you are and what your reality really is. So to resolve the conflict is to end your life as well. So he's talking here about the temptation to suicide, really, to try and resolve this. But you can't resolve it through suicide. You can only resolve it through changing your mind. If you've really changed your mind, why would you want to end your life? It doesn't. You're happy as you are. Whether you're corporeal or incorporeal, you remain rooted in the state of pure formless awareness, no matter what. And so when you've really done that, then when the body is finally laid aside, it's just a natural laying aside, and you've used time for what it's there for, which is to learn the truth. Okay, any thoughts on that? Happy to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So these mad beliefs. Whose turn is it to read?
It's mine.
Okay. Who's this? So these mad beliefs.
These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that we will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. It must be saved from salvation. I don't know. Oh, awakening. Threatened to be safe and magically armored against truth. And these decisions are made unaware to keep them safely undisturbed, apart from question and from reason and from doubt.
Just make that a whole lot shorter. Apart from questioning, reason, and doubt. So this is all subconscious. What he's saying here. Mad beliefs can gain an unconscious hold, grip the mind, turn anxiety so strong that it will not let go. I think that's clearer. Let go of its ideas about its own protection. So referring again to the defenses in lesson 135, talked about these defenses. We won't let go of these defenses about our protection. And so what we're really doing is we're defending against our awakening. Threatened to be safe, so we must maintain the thought system of fear and attack to be safe in our separate identity, and magically armored against truth. And then we forget we're doing all this. These decisions are made unaware to keep them undisturbed, apart from questioning, reason, and doubt. Yeah? Any comments on that? No? State of pure formless awareness is chosen consciously. So if you want to read that, anyone?
Yeah. The state of pure formless awareness is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with the state of pure formless awareness's help. And all mistakes in judgment that the mind had made before are open to correction. As the truth dismisses them as causeless, and now they are without effects. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized.
Pure formless awareness's help. Truth dismisses them, now they are. Okay, so any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just reassessment and vigilance.
And just bringing the choice into conscious awareness. That's what he's asking us to do here. We cannot really choose unless we bring the choice into conscious awareness and say, yes, okay, this is what I'm choosing between. These are the alternatives. And I'm consciously choosing it. We must see the alternative and then deny it. So you see the ego very clearly and you go, no. So all that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with pure formless awareness.
What about translating that as seen in limited awareness instead of veiled in shadows?
Yeah. Yeah, veiled in shadows, we can do that. All that is veiled in limited awareness must be raised to understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So we must bring it into the light of conscious awareness to be judged again with the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of oneness, this time with pure formless awareness as help, with the, maybe it's a bit clumsy, with, we could keep, what do you think? Pure formless awarenesses, generally trying to avoid that. That's the translation for heaven.
State of perfect love's help.
Perfect love's help. Maybe we'll just keep it in this instance, because then we're being true to the, he's used heaven there. So this time with the, how about we just change it? This time with the help of pure formless awareness, much better.
Yeah.
And so all our mistakes that we made come into right perception. We see them as what they are, just mistakes, and we let them go. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. So number 10, conscious choice.
I read that?
Yeah.
Okay. The conscious choice of the state of pure formless awareness is as sure as is the ending of the fear of victimhood. When it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable, the other as a wholly worthless thing, a but imagined source of guilt and pain? Maybe just an imagined source of guilt and pain. Who hesitates to make a choice like this? And shall we hesitate to choose today?
So just it's a call to choose, a call to decide. And he's just framed it in this lesson as the choice between heaven and hell, heaven and victimhood, the state of pure formless awareness and the state of feeling like you're a victim and unfairly treated by a harsh, cruel world. Well, is that really a choice? And so you see only one is valuable. It's like, well, yeah, if you bring it into this stark contrast, how could you choose victimhood and the fear and the anxiety and the attack and all that limitation and lack, pain and suffering and death over pure formless awareness? I mean, is that really a choice that's, so only the one pure formless awareness is seen as valuable, the other as a wholly worthless thing, an imagined source of guilt and pain.
Yeah.
Wholly worthless thing, just an imagined source. Seen as valuable. And the other as a wholly worthless thing. It's an imagined source of guilt and pain. Okay. So happy with that one?
Yeah.
All right. I think probably about to go into meditation now. I think we're about at the level where he says go into practice. So let's see where we are. 11, 12, 11. Okay, so I'll take you into, I think we're there now. Let's just have a look. Choice as we wake, we spend 5 minutes making sure we made the one decision that is sane. So someone read this, and then I'll take you into a meditation.
We make the choice for the state of pure, formless awareness as we wake and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Psycho, it's, what's that?
Pseudo being.
Sorry, brought to what is real is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now for what was made enormous, pitiless with hate, demands obscurity for fear to be invested there. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial mistake.
Okay, so let's do that as a little practice. We might just keep it to 10 minutes because I think I've got another meeting in 10 minutes, so it'll be short med. So Sally, if you want to go out, I know you do that, or just sit quietly.
I'm here.
Okay, good. So sitting quietly, feet shoulder width apart. Up your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Up the spine, clench the sphincter muscle, draw it into your heart center. Put one hand on your heart to connect in with your heart space. And draw it all the way up into the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. And so just make the choice for heaven now. Observe your mind, look at any thoughts and emotions and related body sensations going on there. Just breathe into them to create some space, some light. If you visualize a light, you can visualize a golden or white light flowing into any areas of darkness, any tension in your body, anything in your mind. You just breathe in this spacious awareness. And when you do this, you make the choice for heaven, which is just the state of pure formless awareness. Pure formless awareness of perfect love. So connect with the state quite deeply. Breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. So heaven is the choice. Pure formless awareness is the choice that I make today. And anything else, therefore, must be let go of. So exhale and just blow it all away. Anything else, the breeze of your breath, like dark clouds, just leaving you, going, gone into the nothingness that it really is. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. Let it all go. And just rest for a few minutes in this state of pure formless awareness. There's really nowhere else to go, and there's nothing else to do, and nothing else to think about. You've made the choice, clearly in your mind, and you can rest secure in that choice. This is the one choice that you came here to make, the one choice that you must make in order to be free. And you've made it now. Say, heaven is the decision I must make, and I make it now. And I will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. And with that determined affirmation, just sink into the state. There's a state of mind, state of pure formless awareness. So experience the benefits of this state for a couple of minutes of deep contemplative silence. And if any thoughts seem to come up to disturb this deep silence, this deep state of awareness, just recognize them as cloud patterns, just more obscuring of the state of pure formless awareness, and let them go with the breeze of your breath. So exhale, release them all into the nothingness they really are, and sink into the pure formless awareness, the blue sky of your true awareness and the light that shines through it for another minute of deep silence. So just gently coming back from this deep state of awareness, state of heaven, into awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Scan your mind again, notice any thoughts, any emotions going on, any sensations in the body, and just be willing to let them go if they're not serving you. Anything that's not in accordance with a state of pure formless awareness, that's not happy, that's not peaceful, you observe it, and once again you say, the state of pure formless awareness is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. And you exhale, and you let it all go, and you release to the nothingness that it really is, dropping it all, letting it all go. Notice the air flowing out, chest and the stomach sucked back in, energy subsides back down into the lower stomach and the groin, and the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. On the count of 2, notice what you're feeling and touching with your hands. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, the smell in your nose as you breathe in, and notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment without any attachment, any judgment. Just notice that this state of pure formless awareness is still there. You rest in that state. So connect with that state, anchor it in, set the intention to stay there. And as every hour goes, just spend a few moments, remind yourself that state of pure formless awareness is the decision I make. I make it now and I will not change my mind, because it's the only thing I want. If you need further top up, you can listen to the breath break recording that I've given you. And that should help you stay connected to and in the state of pure formless awareness until our next session, which will be tonight at 8:30. So yeah, hope to see you then. Anyone going to join tonight?
Hi, Jono.
Yeah.
I'll be traveling, getting to Glasgow about 8:30, so I could join later.
Okay, yeah. Join at 9 o'clock if you can.
If I can. No, I'm going to try and instruct Kenneth how to get online with you as well.
Okay, so see you a bit later than normal. Anyone else? You're most welcome. Yeah, join at, shall we say 9 o'clock then?
Yeah, no.
I may have to, I'm staying with somebody I haven't seen for a very long time, so I may have to, just sit and talk with him for a while instead of disappearing off to be online. Okay. I'll see what I can do. All Cheers. Right. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
See you later.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for the session. Have a nice afternoon. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.